I just realized I'm reviewing two politically charged alternative metal albums in a row, pretty much. No, whatever. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Connor, aka the Music Fanatic here, coming to you guys with my next review, and this album is going to be, also it's an album review, as you probably already know, and this album is going to be another politically charged alternative metal album by another politically charged alternative metal band. Technically considered a rap metal band though, and they were pretty much the pioneers of the, not really the pioneers of the genre, they popularized the genre and pretty much pieced out that this can work. But then other bands came along and tried to do it and failed ultimately. I'm looking at you, Limp Bizkit. But today we're going to be reviewing an album that I love to death, one of my favorite albums ever. And yeah, also technically I've already reviewed this album, but that video was never uploaded on YouTube, so I decided why not now. So today I'm going to be reviewing the self-titled album by Rage Against the Machine. Let's do this. So as you guys all know, Rage Against the Machine is the California-based alternative metal and rap metal band that rose to fame in the 1990s and became one of the biggest bands ever in the 1990s. And this is their self-titled release from 1992, I'm pretty sure. Yep, 1992. And it's just their self-titled album. By the way, front cover of this album, the story behind it that I learned is that it was either during the Vietnam War or the Korean War, and it was pretty much a protest march, and there was a bunch of Buddhist priests or Buddhist monks that were walking down the street, like protesting and stuff, and then one of them had the audacity, I guess, in a form of protest, I don't know what form of protest this was, but he laid a mat down in the middle of the street, sat down on the mat, doused himself in gasoline, and lit himself on fire to protest the Vietnam and or Korean War. I forgot which one it exactly was. And that right there will pretty much set up the entire mood for this album, because this album is kind of a dark album in a way, but also it's very politically charged, and that is eminent in pretty much every single song off this album, like Killing in the Name, Take the Power Back, Settle for Nothing, Wake Up, and Freedom, and all those songs. And yeah, just like, you know, the songwriting by Zach De La Rocha, the lead vocalist and rapper of the band Rage Against the Machine. It's, you know, just it's all politically charged, and it just pretty much is about like the times in America at the time and everything. And also, one thing that I learned about Rage Against the Machine is what their political views are. The political views of Rage Against the Machine and its members, Zach De La Rocha, Tim Comerford, there, Brad Wilk, and Tom Morello, pretty much all of them share the political view known as anarchic communism, which I don't know if I 100% agree with that, because I have the theory that communism in its theory sounds like a good idea. Everyone does their part and everyone helps out, but it never works. It never works out, and it's always ultimately going to fail. But yeah, those are the political views of Rage Against the Machine. But enough talk about the band itself, also band members, obviously. Zach De La Rocha on vocals. Also, I love how on the back of this right here, you can actually see it if I put it up there. Hopefully, you can't see it. Never mind. It says Guilty Parties rather than band members. It says Guilty Parties, Zach De La Rocha on vocals, Timmy C, it's Tim Comerford, on bass, Brad Wilk on drums, and Tom Morello on guitars. And also, the one thing that I love that they have to stress on the album is that everyone knows this who listens to Rage Against the Machine, and that's the fact that Tom Morello has some of the most ingenious ways of playing his guitar, where he does like different effects with like the kill switch and like a wah pedal and an effect pedal. He used a whole bunch of different effects, and in the fact that he's in a rap metal band, he is the lead guitarist and technically the DJ in the band. So anytime that there's like a guitar solo in a Rage Against the Machine song, or even in an Audioslave song, it's not exactly like your standard Eddie Van Halen or even Metallica Kirk Hammett type of way of playing a guitar solo. He's usually using like different effects, standing right next to the amp and stuff, and just does like a bunch of different like effect sounds and stuff. And also, I love how on the back they have to stress it by saying no samples, keyboards, synthesizers used in the making of this recording. And it pretty much says all sounds on this recording were made by guitar, drum, vocal, or bass. So any sound you hear in this album that sounds a little weird and doesn't sound like it'd be an actual instrument, that would be like a guitar or something like that, or vocals, or like a bass or a drum, just know it is actually that. So yeah, that's the great thing about Rage Against the Machine. Another thing I've always loved about Rage Against the Machine is that Tom Morello, Tim Comerford, and Brad Wilk are probably, even Tim Comerford and Brad Wilk are probably, when it comes to this genre of music, or even music in general, they are some of like the best rhythm section that the world has ever known. Like, they know how to lay down a beat of a song and pretty much keep the beat, while Tom Morello is doing all his crazy effects on the guitar, and Zach De La Rocha is rapping away on a song, and singing and pretty much rapping about why things are fucked up in the world and everything. And also, just Tom Morello probably is the master of making riffs, and by that I mean like the chorus riff of a song, like the memorable riff of a song that after you listen to a song and you hear the riff, you could even just hear the riff on the instruments, you'd just be like, wow, I know what song that is. Like, they know how to make a song like epic sounding, and like they knew how to do the. I think they were one of the first eminent bands that were eminent for doing in the 1990s a thing called the breakdown of a song. It's where pretty much sometimes things go silent, and then when they get into the chorus or something, they just break it and get really loud and stuff. And it's another thing I love about the band. But enough about the band and stuff. Let's get on to the tracks off this album. I'll be looking at this album track by track, by the way, and breaking down every song. The first song on this album is called Bomb Track. The first thing I want to talk about for the song Bomb Track is, oddly enough, the beginning of the song, because the beginning of the song is kind of the age-old thing that Rage Against the Machine is known for doing in their videos. Wow, known for doing in their songs, is just pretty much the build-up of, in a sense, the entire song. Tim Comerford, I keep forgetting his name for some reason, and Tom Morello are essentially playing the exact same thing together on the guitar and bass, and it goes throughout the entire song. And also another thing I want to talk about is the title of the song, Bomb Track. Some people have speculated that the reason why it's called Bomb Track is because in the song itself, the song is pretty much talking about like all the leaders that think they can control the world and everything. Even in the lyric where it says, landlords and power whores, on my people they took turns, dispute the suits, I ignite and then watch them burn. It's pretty much talking about like landlords and like power whores and everything. Like landlords, like who, you live somewhere and then you have to pay them for living there, or like the political leaders and all that stuff that think they can control everything and everything is in their power and everything. And I guess it's using a metaphor that, or Zach De La Rocha literally says he wants to watch these people burn, he wants to murder them and stuff. Judging who the band is, wouldn't really surprise me. They burned an American flag at Woodstock 1999, which was awesome, by the way. But yeah, pretty much the song itself is talking about how everyone tries to control us, but we're not going to take it, and we're going to watch them burn, I guess, is what they're saying. But the song itself, and like the title of it, the title of the song, is Bomb Track. Well, the reason why is because not for any reason like, oh, they're going to light them on fire, they're going to watch them burn, they're going to blow them up and everything. Actually, the song itself, Bomb Track, it's because back in the 1990s, even now, some people say like, oh, if something was great or something was awesome, it was like, oh, that's the bomb. So pretty much when, I guess, it was either Tom Morello, Tim Comerford, or Zach De La Rocha himself. They were listening to the recording of the album before they actually, like, they heard, like, the riff and everything that, I guess, Tom Morello actually made up the riff for the song and everything, and when Zach De La Rocha was writing the lyrics, he thought that the guitar track sounded like a bomb track, like, oh, that's the bomb track, it's really good, it's a bomb track, it's an awesome track. So that inspired him to just title the song Bomb Track, and I think it fits the song. I think it's a really, really good song, and yeah. Next song on the album is the most infamous song by Rage Against the Machine, which is the first song I ever heard by them, and I can thank the game Guitar Hero 2 for doing that, even though it's a cover song, and the cover is terrible. The song is called Killing in the Name. Now, I think I know the reason for this, but I guess it's beyond me at this point. But oddly enough, the song Killing in the Name, in the actual thing that I have here for the vinyl, I don't know, not on CD for some reason, but yeah, right here, it says right after the song Bomb Track on this side of the album, on like, well, not the side of the album, like the lyrics and everything. The lyrics for the song Killing in the Name are not actually there. It just says Killing in the Name, and then it goes to the next song, which is called Take the Power Back. And I think the reason for that is because it's a pretty straightforward meaning behind the song. Like the line of the song, which is synonymous with the song, is some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses, and then the chorus is like those who died are justified for wearing the badge in your Trojan white. And then the ending of the song says "fuck you, I won't do what you tell me." So it's a pretty straightforward meaning behind the song. It's pretty much talking about police brutality and comparing the police officers and all that stuff who do the police brutality to the Ku Klux Klan. That's why they say some of those who work for, that's why they say those who died are justified for wearing your badge in your Trojan white, because Trojan white is what the Ku Klux Klan members wear when they're going on raids and all that stuff. And you know, the first when it says some of those who work forces are the same that burn crosses and stuff. So it's pretty much just a song about like police and stuff and like police brutality. Then the ending of the song is pretty straightforward. It's an anti-authority anthem, pretty much. You know, the whole "fuck you, I won't do what you tell me" chanted over and over and over again at the end of the song. And this is probably, I wouldn't say it's the best song by Rage Against the Machine, and it's not my personal favorite song off the album. It's up there. It's one of my favorite songs by Rage Against the Machine in general, but it's not one of my favorites off the album in general. It's probably like my second favorite song off the album. But yeah, I think probably when it comes to the like the riff, the guitar riff in the song, the drumming on the song, which is awesome and everything. And yeah, also I forgot the line. And now you do what they told you and stuff. That's another line and everything. And not like you're under control and everything. It's pretty much, as I said, the song is talking about doing what other people are telling you, and it's comparing police officers to like Ku Klux Klan members and all that stuff. And again, pretty good song, and it is without a doubt one of the funnest songs to ever play on drums. I have been attempting to try to make a drum cover of this song, but there's a few factors. First off, YouTube is probably gonna fuck me over and delete the video anyways. But I still need to buy a ride cymbal. That's my problem. But yeah. So yeah, that was the song "Killing in the Name." Great song. Next song in the album is called "Take the Power Back." This song is awesome. The intro to this song is probably one of my favorite Rage Against the Machine moments of all time, and is mainly the reason why I love the song so much. It's pretty much it's just Brad Wilk playing something on the hi-hat over and over again, while Tim Comerford is playing on the bass and plays one of the most memorable bass lines ever when it comes to Rage Against the Machine. It's just dun 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 dun, that. And yeah, instrumentation as always is great. The riff on the song is awesome. Halfway through, the little guitar thing that Tom Morello does is awesome as always. Oh yeah, I forgot to say that about the song "Bomb Track" and "Killing in the Name." "Bomb Track," I can't really remember the one that's in that song, but the one in "Killing in the Name" is fucking awesome, mind-blowing. Same with this one. And pretty much the song "Take the Power Back" is pretty straightforward. Again, it's pretty much talking about all the people who think they control us. Well, they're not in control, and we're going to take the power back. Most of the songs on this album are pretty much that meaning. Like, it's pretty much against everyone that thinks they can control us, and we're going to take over. Like, they've been in control for too long, and they think they can control us and everything, but we're not going to let them do that. We're going to take over. Hold on. Yeah, it's pretty much just talking about taking the power back and going against the political leaders and stuff, and they're not in control, we're in control, and yeah. So that's the song "Killing the Name." Wow, that's the song "Take the Power Back." I think it's one of my it's probably either my favorite song off the album or like my third favorite song off the album. I know that's weird to go. Next song on the album is called "Settle for Nothing." Real quick, I actually wanted to talk about one of the lines in the song "Take the Power Back," which is probably my favorite Rage Against the Machine moment ever. It's the part in the song where Zach De La Rocha, it's just him, but it's pretty much just like an acapella moment. Acapella moment, I don't mean like, oh, he's singing and whatever. It's like just him by himself in the background. They're playing a riff every once in a while. While they're playing like a note or like a chord behind it to a beat and everything. And pretty much in the song it says, the teacher stands in front of the class, but the lesson plan he can't recall. The student's eyes don't perceive the lies bouncing off every fucking wall. His composure is well kept. I guess he fears playing the fool. The Yeah, the complacent student sits and listens to the bullshit that he learned in school. So it's pretty much also talking about like the teachers and stuff, that they have their job and they're trying to teach you all the stuff that they learned in school and all that, but not a lot of it is necessarily true, and they're just trying to do their job. So I guess it's either speaking for teachers or against teachers. Anyway, next song on the album is called Settle for Nothing. So in my personal opinion, I view this song having two meanings behind it. And also, this is one of the most, as I would call it, the craziest or most schizophrenic, in a way, kind of sounding song by Rage Against the Machine. It just has like that whole like insanity meter to it, in a way. Wow, I just quoted Amnesia. But the song is pretty much, it says, first line of the song, it says, a jail cell is freedom from the pain in my home. And then it says, later on, it says, read my writing on the wall, and no one's here to catch me when I fall, but death is on my side, suicide. And then later on it says genocide as that. And I think there's two meanings behind it. I think it's either a person who has joined a gang because he's fed up with the world and he wants to do something better with his life, or he's like going against like the leaders and stuff. And the reason why I say that is because it says, I got a 9, a sign, a set, and now I got a name. He's got a 9, which is pretty much a slang for a gun, a sign, which is like a gang sign, a set, which is his part in the gang, and now I got a name, which, you know, people usually in gangs usually have specific names. And then it says, read my writing on the wall, no one's here to catch me when I fall, but death is on my side, suicide. And then later on it says genocide. So first, it's pretty much talking about read my writing on the wall. It's pretty much a metaphor for graffiti. And then it says suicide, you know, you're fed up with life and maybe want to, and at that point you want to kill yourself. But then it says genocide because gangs can get so out of hand that they can probably cause a mass genocide. Nazis are a good example of that. But also, I think my interpretation of it is a guy who is in jail for the wrong reason. He was put in jail for no reason at all, and as the title puts, he's not going to settle for nothing. He was put in jail for nothing, and he's not going to settle for nothing. And the way I think that is because he says a jail cell is freedom from the pain in my home, and then he says, where was it at? It says, I tried to grip my family, but I slipped, and then it says, read my writing on the wall and stuff. So I think it's about a guy who is wrongly convicted and put in jail for no reason, and he's not just going to settle for that. When he gets out, he's going to get his revenge. And when it says, read my writing on the wall, you can see whenever you go into specific jail cells in a jail, usually they have like carvings on the wall that they do with a knife and stuff, expressing what they're feeling at the time and everything, because sometimes they have nothing else to do in there, and pretty much it's saying when he gets out of jail, he's gonna have his revenge. And I think lyrically, it's a great song, and also instrumentally, it's a really, really good song because the verses of the song right before the chorus, it has a really soft demeanor to it. When I say soft demeanor, I don't mean it's like a soft rocking song. It's still a hard rocking song, but it has like that little. It's kind of like the guy who's in jail. He's like sitting there just like thinking to himself, and then the chorus is pretty much all of the rage and anger is just coming out of him at the same time. And I give this song a huge credit for that. I love this song because of that. Then the next song on the album is called Bullet in the Head. This is probably, no, I'm saying it right now, this is my favorite song off the entire album. I absolutely love this song. This song starts off with Tim Comerford pretty much just doing almost like the same, pretty much the same chord on the bass. It's just din 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 like that. And then when Tom Morello comes in, he's not doing a specific riff. He's kind of doing a crazy little thing on his guitar, which, you know, he's known for that. And then the drum beat for this. The thing I've loved about Brad Wilk and his drumming for Rage Against the Machine is that take everything away, take out like the hard rocking guitar, take out like the bass, like the not basic, like the rhythm based hard rocking bass and all that stuff, and he could easily be just like the backing drummer for like a hip hop group or something. And the song in general, first line of the song says, this time the bullet cold rocked ya, a yellow ribbon instead of a swastika. And then it goes on pretty much just saying like you got a bullet in your head and everything. It's pretty much like almost like a wake up call that they're trying to do. It's like saying you're controlled by all these people, and you know it says a yellow sign instead of a swastika. Not really sure what that means. And then it says nothing's proper about your propaganda and everything. It's pretty much one of those wake up things where it's just like you're in control by all these people and you're following what they're doing, it's like you got a bullet in your head. It's like you're pretty much done, pretty much brain dead by this point, because you got a bullet in your head for thinking all these people are right. And probably one of the best. Would you call them guitar solos that Tom Morello does? I guess it's like one of those scratch solos that he does on his guitar is amazing on this song. And ever since the first time I heard this song, it just blew me away by how awesome it was. And then in the last line of the song, or the closing thing in the song, is pretty much everything goes crazy. It builds up. It builds up. Zach De La Rocha is saying you got a bullet in your head over and over again, and then it just explodes in him saying that, and then it ends in him saying you got a bullet in your fucking head and everything, and just ends. And the song is fucking awesome, and probably, yeah, it's probably my favorite song that Rage Against the Machine have ever done. And yeah, so the next song on the album is one that is extremely special to me, and I think actually this song might be my second favorite song off this entire album. It's called Know Your Enemy. No, this song's not by Green Day. The song Know Your Enemy is pretty much one of those other songs by Rage Against the Machine that is pretty straightforward on the meaning. When it says know your enemy, it's pretty much knowing that the people who say they're controlling you are not the people that are, they're not necessarily the good people, they're necessarily the bad people, and they're your enemy and stuff. And that's infinite in the line in the song where it says, it's pretty much also talking about being defiant and all that stuff, you know, with the DEFIANCE, but they say with the D, the F, the I, and all that. The mind of a revolutionary. Then later on it says, what? The land of the free. Whoever told you that is your enemy. Yeah, it's pretty much just talking about being controlled by other people and realizing that they're your enemy and you should not blindly follow what they say and stuff. And also the line in the song, it says, what? The land of the free. Whoever told you that is your enemy. It's pretty much saying we're free in this country and all that, but we're not necessarily absolutely free. We're free to some regulations and all that stuff. Also, another reason why I love this song so much is because when it says the lines in the song, I got no patience now, so sick of complainants now. I've got no patience now, so sick of complainants now. Sick of you. And then it says time has come to pay. That line is actually sang by Tool frontman Maynard James Keenan. And he even played it with him live once. And yeah, another one of my favorite songs off of the album. One of the best riffs, I think the best riff that Rage Against the Machine has ever made for a song. And yeah, so that's the song Know Your Enemy. The next song on the album is called Wake Up. This song has another obvious meaning behind it. So whenever people talk about like the Illuminati and all that stuff, they use the line, wake up America and see what's actually happening and stuff. And this song's not about the Illuminati, but it might be, I don't know, it's Rage Against the Machine. But it's pretty much just like wake up and see that we're all not as well as we think we are and stuff. And has that line when they have the like this line wake up, like Zach De La Rocha is pretty much screaming his head off when he's doing that part. But yeah, wake up is a pretty straightforward song. It's pretty much saying like wake up and see that you're being controlled, or wake up and see that not everything is going well. Then the next song on the album is called Fistful of Steel, and this song is about another song about like blindly following without realizing what you're doing. And a part of the song, you know what, I'm actually just gonna look for it, so you're gonna have to wait. Says, it says, if the vibe was suicide, then would you push the button? But if you're bowing down, then let me do the cutting. So pretty much it's saying like everything. It's pretty much one of those things where we're told what to do and all that stuff, and we're blindly following. And it's pretty much just, you know, the age-old saying, well, if someone told you to jump off a bridge and everyone else is doing it, would you do it? In a way, it's kind of saying that. At the end, it says, if the vibe was suicide, would you push the button? So if the vibe, or if like the thing that you were told to do was like suicide and stuff, and make everyone do it, would you push the button to make everyone do it and stuff? And like, you know, that's pretty much the song is saying. It's about like blindly following and everything. And also, a fistful of steel, I think is talking about a microphone. And I think it's talking about Zach De La Rocha having the fistful of steel, aka the microphone in his hand, and he's like singing the lyrics of the song and everything. So yeah, that's the song Fistful of Steel. The next song on the album is called Township Rebellion. So as the title of the song clearly states, the song is pretty much talking about rebellion, and part of the song, it's talking about, I think probably my favorite part of the entire song. It says, "I wish I could be peaceful, but there can be no sequel." So it's pretty much saying, like rebelling against everyone and like causing like an uproar and causing like a revolution and all that stuff against everything that you think is wrong. And it's pretty much at the point where you're so fed up with it that there is no point of being peaceful and like having a peaceful protest and everything. So when it says, "I wish I could be peaceful, but there can be no sequel," it's pretty much saying, I'm not going to be peaceful in this protest because we've tried to be peaceful before and it's just happened all over again. So if I'm gonna protest and rebel against what you're saying, there can be no sequel, as in this can't happen again. So I'm gonna make sure of that. And also, it's in the song "Know Your Enemy," but it's also in this song. And part of the song it says, "Why stand on a silent platform? Fight the war, fuck the norm." And that part of the song, I think they're pretty much daring everyone in the world to have your own opinion and express your opinion, whether everyone likes it or not. And that's what the line, "Why stand on a silent platform?" It's pretty much saying, like if you're standing in front of an audience preaching what you're saying, like preaching or saying what you're saying and everything, but you don't really mean it, you're pretty much on a silent platform, not really saying anything. So state your opinion, believe in your opinions, and express them whether people like it or not. Then it says, "Fight the war and fuck the norm." So it's fight the war against everything you think is wrong, and don't just settle for everything that you think is right. So that's that song, Township Rebellion. Really good song. And the next song on the album is the final track, and it's called "Freedom." So there's two ways of looking at the song "Freedom." It's either A, about people who are wrongly convicted and all that stuff, and standing up for people and standing up for people's freedom and stuff, because in the ending of the song it says "Freedom, yeah, right." But also whenever they whenever they played the song live, I forgot what the name of the guy was, but they said "freedom" for whoever the guy was, and it was a guy that was pretty much on death row and everything for reasons that the band thought was wrong, and he was pretty much on death row for a long time, and they pretty much just let him rot to death in FBI prison and stuff. So there's two ways of looking at the song. It's either looking at the fact that they gave freedom to inmates in a prison, but they didn't actually get their freedom that they deserved, or it's saying that we all have freedom in America, but in actuality, there is no freedom. Like, freedom, yeah, right. There's barely any freedom at all. And that's the way that I personally will view the song. I'm not going to get too much into politics, because in my own actuality, I don't give a shit about politics, and I could care less. When it comes to time to vote, I probably won't vote anyways, because I see no point in it. But yeah, so that is the album of the first album by Rage Against the Machine, and now we'll be talking about other things about the album besides the tracks. First things first, though, I have to do the thing I do in every single one of my reviews. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tracks off this album. So I will be talking about my my 5 favorite songs off this album in no particular order, and they would go. No particular order, they would go Killing in the Name, Take the Power Back, Bullet in the Head, Know Your Enemy, and Freedom. Now I know I'm picking pretty much the most popular songs off the album, but there's a good reason why they're the most popular, because they're the best songs off the album. So yeah. As I stated at the beginning of this review, there's one thing that I always wanted to stress with Rage Against the Machine that I think is probably their biggest standpoint ever, and that is the fact that Tom Morello and the rhythm section of this band, Tim Comerford and Brad Wilk, are just... There's one thing that Anthony Fantano from the Needle Drop expressed this, and also I think this is very true too, is that every single riff off this album is very memorable and everything, and they just know how to make an explosive, awesome, like, chorus riff, or like a riff for a song. It's kind of like the thing that Pantera popularized in the 90s, and also you can see this on Metal Evolution. It's kind of like everyone beforehand, they had the money riff, or like the riff that's really memorable in a song and everything, and they saved it for a certain section of the song, but they had the idea of, why not make the whole song the money riff? And honestly, Rage Against the Machine is one of those bands that perfected that too, because like in the song Killing in the Name, or even Bomb Track, Take the Power Back, Wake Up, Know Your Enemy, and like all those other songs, pretty much the guitar riff on that song is pretty much extremely memorable and works really well with the song and everything. And yeah, I'll explain more of this later in the review, but yeah, it's one of those things where I will say this, I'm going to have to disagree with one thing that the guy, the rock critic, said in his top 10 best nu metal bands of all time. I know even he himself said it in the video that he didn't agree with his younger self about it, I guess, but I don't see Rage Against the Machine being a nu metal band. By pretty much any stretch of the imagination, they gear more towards rap metal and alternative metal. Oh, but nu metal pretty much is rap metal. No, there's a huge difference, okay? The way that Limp Bizkit plays nu metal in their rap and stuff, that's nu metal. This is alternative metal. There is a clear difference. But yeah, so yeah, I guess other things about the album. The most absolute best thing about this album is just the politically charged lyrics behind this album and all the ideas and stuff that they express. Sure, they're anarchists and they're communists and all that stuff, but the way they express their opinions and all that, it just, when you listen to this album, you know something's wrong in the back of your mind. In a way, this is a punk rock album. It's a politically charged rap metal and alternative metal album, but in a sense, when you listen to it and you hear the lyrics and all that stuff, and you hear the instrumentation of how like thrashy they are, they're pretty much like a Molotov cocktail of rap, metal, and punk rock all mixed in, like thrash metal all mixed into one. But when you really think about it, like if you hear other albums by other bands like Nevermind the Bollocks, here's the Sex Pistols, is it Rotten Vegetables and Fresh Fruit? Is that the name of the album by the Dead Kennedys? But if you listen to any like politically charged punk rock album, you'll notice that they're pretty much almost singing about the exact same thing that Rage Against the Machine is rapping about in their album and albums, I guess. My second favorite album by them would probably have to be Battle of Los Angeles, just because it's kind of almost the same thing on every single Rage Against the Machine album where they're singing about politically charged lyrics and all that stuff. But for them, it works out really well. And yeah, also the infamous thing that happened at Woodstock 1999, where they were protesting, I guess, against all the things that were wrong in America at the time, and they pretty much set the American flag on fire. So take that as you will. But, you know, there's a huge speculation of, is that a freedom of speech, or should we do this? It's just, you know, some people want to do things. It's illegal to light a dollar bill on fire in this country, but somehow we can still light an American flag on fire. So I think the dollar bill is apparently more acceptable, is apparently more valuable than the American flag, the symbol for the country. Like, if you can't light one on fire, you shouldn't be able to light the other one on fire. Or you should be able to light either one on fire and not get in trouble for it, because First Amendment says freedom of speech. But yeah, the politically charged lyrics in this album, I don't really know how, they would probably go out better today, because back in the 1990s there was like the whole Bill Clinton thing and like the surplus was happening and all that stuff. So, you know, when they were singing it in 1992, things weren't exactly awful, but, you know, I think if they were to sing it today, like with the whole thing of, you know, the new president coming in and the election happening in 2016 and all that stuff, I almost feel like this album and the other albums in Rage Against the Machine's catalog almost work out better today than they did back in the 1990s. I mean, sure, they're one of the staples of alternative music in the 1990s, but if they were around today, it would almost work out better for them and everything. And people, by like the masses, are probably, well, never mind. Looking at the way that music is today, probably not a lot of people would listen to Rage Against the Machine today, but it pretty much works out almost better as a politically charged album of today than it did back in 1992 when it first came out. And I commemorate them. This album is awesome, and I'll say this later, but this album is a 9.5 out of 10 for me. So, yeah. Also, there's one thing I wanted to stress about this, and that is going to be the vocalist of this band. I think when it comes to bands, Rage Against the Machine is not underrated at all, but their lead singer, Zach De La Rocha, when it comes to being a lead vocalist and stuff, is extremely underrated. Like, people like to talk about who's the best MC, who's the best rapper of all time, who's the best this, best that. The fact that every time that I hear to one of those lists and Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine isn't on any of those lists, I think is a crime. Because the guy, you know, he's in a rap metal band, but he could stand on his own, like playing actually singing, not singing, like actually rapping and putting out like a hip hop album and everything, because the guy is phenomenal. He has a great flow. I guess that's what they say in the rap community. I listen to rock music. I don't know any terms in rap. I just know flow is one of them. He has a really good rap flow. He knows how to keep the beat behind the song. He can do it fast. He can do it slow. He can do like really like insanity type thing of like rapping slow and then like yelling choruses and everything. But he can also do like really fast flows behind a song and everything, behind like a rocking like heavy metal song and everything. So Zach De La Rocha is probably the strongest point of any song by Rage Against the Machine or any album by Rage Against the Machine. Also, Tom Morello, in my opinion, is one of the best guitarists of all time. Like the way that he plays the guitar, all the crazy effects that he does and everything. And everyone was doubting him when they released the first Rage Against the Machine album and all the other albums. Just like, oh, he's pretty good making riffs and doing the effects and stuff. But can he really play guitar? And then in Audioslave, he pretty much proved, yeah, the guy can play guitar. Listen to the song Like a Stone. That can prove to you that the guy really knows how to play his instrument and everything. Also, Brad Wilk is one of the best drummers in all of alternative metal history. I would consider this album alternative metal and rap metal. I wouldn't really consider it new metal. I don't consider it new metal at all, actually. And Tim Comerford is one of the best, makes some of the best bass lines when it comes to rap metal or alternative metal. So, yeah. If I were to give this album a rating, I would probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. It's a phenomenal, fantastic album. There really is no flaws with the album. The only flaw I would really say with the album is that some of the meanings behind the song. It's a politically charged album and everything. It's just most of the songs when you hear like the meaning behind the song kind of gets a little redundant in a way. Like, oh, this song's about blindly following leaders and not doing that. Oh, so is this song. Oh, this song's about standing up for your opinions, and even if people don't like it, and so is this song. So that's really the only flaw with the album, and that's it. This album is absolutely incredible. Everybody should listen to it. It is just a hard-rocking, great rap metal album. And yeah, so that's pretty much, I guess, everything I want to talk about for this album, and I will see you guys in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, give that like button a click. In the comment section below, leave me album suggestions for albums I should review, and that's pretty much it. 3, 2, 1, I'm done. Subscribe, and goodbye.